Part 116. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1151. However, Wang Feng had expected the situation a long time ago. However, in comparison, his current method was the safest method, because there were more than one staircase and elevator in the entire underground base. Wang Feng only found this one place, which was far away from other places to go up and down the stairs. If he wanted to change places, one was that he had to move in the air, and the other was that there was no such a good position. Moreover, Wang Feng had no chance to breathe now. Since he entered the 5th floor and exposed his whereabouts, Wang Feng had been in the sight of the cosmic ghosts. No matter where he appeared, there would be cosmic ghosts following him immediately, attacking him directly without thinking about it, and even not caring whether he would destroy the internal buildings of the base. Because this is a military zone, although there are no defensive weapons installed inside, the monitoring system is very complete. Therefore, no matter where Wang Feng appears, he will be discovered immediately, so now Wang Feng has no intention of hiding his tracks. Anyway, he can't hide. But now Wang Feng has a headache, because the underground base is too high. Now he is only on the 11th floor, and the space on this floor is more than 50 meters high. If you go down, there are higher floors. No wonder the instructor said that they might encounter attacks from small fighters on the way to the 55th floor. In fact, seriously speaking, the floor where Wang Feng is now is enough space for small fighters to fly. Although Wang Feng is not so afraid of the appearance of small fighters, it is still a trouble. And now every time Wang Feng appears, he will be attacked by the cosmic ghost from a distance. Wang Feng has no energy shield protection at this time. Once he is hit, even if it is not fatal, it will at least affect his actions. Especially now that he has just reached the 11th floor, seriously speaking, Wang Feng has only advanced 6 floors towards the floor where the main brain is located. In front, there are more than 40 floors for him to break through. So this way, Wang Feng must not be able to continue, and he must find a better way to avoid the pursuit of the cosmic ghost. However, Wang Feng did not have time to think about his action plan slowly, because the army of the cosmic ghosts standing below was constantly shooting at him. Although Wang Feng could fly, he was not so flexible by his own flight, and it was impossible for him to dodge all the attacks. Fortunately, Wang Feng was well prepared for this, because he had long expected that he would be attacked by the cosmic ghosts from a distance, and he also knew his disadvantage when flying, that is, it was not easy to avoid the long-range attacks from the ground. So after the cosmic ghosts were prepared, Wang Feng had already begun to control the distance of his teleportation. He would try to appear as close to the roof as possible when teleporting to the next floor. In this way, one is that Wang Feng can be at a relatively far distance. When he is attacked from a distance, he can have more time to dodge, and the other is that he can use the reaction force of the ceiling to quickly change his position, which makes it easier to avoid long-range attacks from the ground. However, as Wang Feng went deeper and deeper, more and more cosmic ghosts gathered on each floor, and their attacks became more and more intensive, so it was naturally more difficult for Wang Feng to dodge. Wang Feng once thought of using a small fighter to increase his speed in the air, but unfortunately it was just a beautiful idea, because the small fighter had no energy shield, so it could not resist the long-range attack from below. Although driving a small fighter could make Wang Feng more flexible in the air, but at the same time, the small fighter was larger in size and the impact surface was wider, so it was not worth the loss. What made Wang Feng especially upset was the height of each floor, which made Wang Feng have no way to make himself appear very close to the ground when teleporting. If he could appear at a height of about 2 or 3 meters from the ground, then Wang Feng could rush directly into the army of cosmic ghosts and use close combat to deal with those cosmic ghosts. In this case, the long-range attack of the cosmic ghosts naturally lost its advantage, and even dared not shoot at all for fear of accidentally injuring their own people. After being attacked by the beam gun several times, Wang Feng finally gave up the method of making himself appear closest to the ceiling, because now the attacks from below are becoming more and more dense. Even if Wang Feng can dodge as flexibly as a small fighter, it is not easy to dodge all the long-range attacks. Therefore, Wang Feng must now make himself closer to the ground more quickly so as to rush into the army of the cosmic ghost. Under the last resort, Wang Feng can only use teleportation twice in a row in the shortest possible time, but in this way, he can't enter the next level faster. He must wait for a while before he can use teleportation to enter the next level, because if he launches several teleportations in a row, Wang Feng will have to wait for a long time before launching the next teleportation. If he is in the air, it is likely to cause him to fall directly. So, now Wang Feng first appears in the air of the next floor, then dodges a few times, and then teleports again to the ground, and then fights with the cosmic ghost army in close combat, absorbing life energy in the battle while waiting for the teleport time to recover. When advancing to the 15th floor in this way, Wang Feng sadly discovered that it might be because he knew that those ground troops would not be able to cause any harm to him after he fell to the ground, but would be absorbed by him to recover his previous injuries. So the cosmic ghost changed the way to block Wang Feng again. On the 15th floor, when Wang Feng was wondering why he didn't see the cosmic ghost army on the ground, he suddenly felt that something seemed to be attacking from the right. Without thinking, he summoned the Xianyuan sword and swung it in that direction. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and Wang Feng was thrown away by the huge air wave. During the process of being thrown away, Wang Feng quickly glanced, but found that the things used to stop him on this floor were replaced by 6 small fighter planes. Although the performance of the Cosmic Ghost's small fighter is far inferior to that of the human race, its flexibility in the air is still not comparable to that of Wang Feng. Fortunately, the pilot of the small fighter may have been greedy for merit. After discovering that Wang Feng appeared here, he actually drove the small fighter directly towards Wang Feng, wanting to kill Wang Feng directly. But he didn't expect that Wang Feng's reaction was so fast, and he also conjured up a huge two-handed sword out of thin air, causing his fighter to be directly hit by a sword and exploded directly. The other 5 small fighters found that Wang Feng was thrown away by the air wave, and immediately felt that this was a good opportunity. Therefore, the beam cannons on the fighters began to fire continuously and attacked Wang Feng. Although it was a small fighter, the airborne beam cannon, of course, had much more powerful firepower than the previous Cosmic Ghost's handheld beam gun. Therefore, Wang Feng did not dare to easily use his body to resist these energy beams. In desperation, he had to use a teleport again to get himself to the ground. After reaching the ground, Wang Feng did not dare to continue teleporting downwards, because if the next level was still intercepted by small fighters, he would be in big trouble in the air and could not teleport immediately. Fortunately, there were still many buildings and machines on the ground, which could be used by Wang Feng as his cover, especially Wang Feng, who had already reached the ground and launched the gale, and his speed suddenly began to soar. Moreover, Wang Feng on the ground was much more flexible than in the air. Although the 5 small fighters in the air did not care about the buildings and machines below and desperately shot Wang Feng, they did not make any substantial progress except smashing those buildings and machines into pieces. On the ground, Wang Feng was just trying his best to dodge the attacks from the air. Although he could also use bows and arrows to fight back, you should know that his best attack method was bows and arrows, not two-handed swords. However, doing so would not make any sense to Wang Feng, because it was not that the Cosmic Ghost had no other small fighters on this level, but that in this space, 5 to 6 small fighters were almost the limit. If there were more, the small fighters would not be able to exert their normal speed, and they would easily collide with each other. So even if Wang Feng could shoot down these 5 small fighters like birds, there would be another 5 small fighters coming in to continue attacking him, which would be of no use at all. So now Wang Feng was just stalling for time so that he could recover to his peak state and then enter the next level. After the small fighters in the air had almost completely bombed this level, they suddenly discovered that the human race seemed to have disappeared. How could this happen? Watching the surveillance video, the elders in the Cosmic Ghost Elders Council were furious again. They didn't expect that after using small fighters to intercept Wang Feng, the effect seemed to be worse than using the Cosmic Ghost Army. Although the Cosmic Ghost Army did not stop Wang Feng's steps, at least those armies shot Wang Feng many times, causing him to be really injured. But now after switching to small fighters, in addition to almost completely destroying their own 15th floor base, they didn't hurt the man at all, and they lost a small fighter right away. The loss of small fighters was not taken seriously by these members of the Elders Council, but the question now was how they were going to stop the advancement of this human race. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1152. Although it sounds like there are still 40 floors from the 15th to the 55th floor, it seems that this human race is still far away from the mastermind. However, now the elders of these cosmic ghosts are beginning to worry. This is just a human being. Could he alone be able to break into the core of his headquarters and destroy the ultimate mastermind of their cosmic ghost? Quick! Let the guys from the frigates outside come in immediately. Starting from the 50th floor, fill every floor with people. Use small fighters in the air. We must kill that human race at all costs. An elder roared loudly and gave orders to the higher UPS of the space ghost beside him. But, those frigates have not been thoroughly inspected yet, there may be spies inside. Another elder said with some concern. It's too late. Another elder spoke directly. Now we don't have time to identify whether there are spies among them. Once the identification is clear, the human race may have destroyed our mastermind. In that case, what's the use of finding the spies among the escorts? Furthermore, what happened to the convoy must have been done by these human races. Although I don't know how they did it, they must no longer be convoys because they have entered our military zone. Our escort team is still outside the energy shield. The ones that broke into the energy shield just now and were destroyed by our defensive firepower should be all the frigates controlled by human spies. Their purpose was just to send these humans into the energy shield. So now we must activate the escorts. Regardless of whether there are spies among them, we must let them in. Nothing can happen to the mastermind no matter what. Besides, we only need to let the outside escorts defend above the 50th floor. The floors below the 50th floor are still guarded by our military zone guards. I agree. Let's do it. There is no time to discuss it now. Quickly call in the guards outside and let them enter the floor for defense immediately. It will be too late. Because of Wang Feng's sudden advance, the Council of Elders of the Space Ghost quickly reached an agreement and began to summon their escort fleet outside. Of course, the space battleships of these escort fleets would not even think of entering the military zone. The Elder Council did not let them use the small fighter planes, and directly turned all the escort members into infantry to stop Wang Feng's advance. In fact, the Cosmic Ghost is indeed very weak. Whether their original star was destroyed or the current military zone was invaded by Wang Feng, it was because of their own reasons that they had no powerful power and could not use it. So he suffered losses in front of Wang Feng one after another. The most powerful force of the Cosmic Ghost is their space battleship, but whether it was at the time of the original star or in the current military zone, their most powerful force cannot be put into battle, even if the veterans of the Cosmic Ghost, if we hadn't installed automatic defense weapons in their military zone because of too many scruples, it would never have been as easy for Wang Feng to break in. Now Wang Feng's intrusion, although it seems to be full of dangers, has not really suffered any fatal blow, and if the Cosmic Ghost cannot change the status quo, it will definitely not be able to stop Wang Feng. Now every time Wang Feng enters the next level, he will at least ensure that he can initiate teleportation again immediately after entering the new level, and ensure to the greatest extent that he can use teleportation when encountering any crisis. Come and escape. The maximum height of the floors that Wang Feng has entered now does not reach 100 meters. Therefore, if Wang Feng uses the maximum distance to teleport on the previous floor, he will be able to teleport again on the new floor. After teleporting, you can definitely reach the ground. As long as he reaches the ground, Wang Feng can survive on his own regardless of whether there are soldiers of the cosmic ghost on the ground, and if there are soldiers of the cosmic ghost, it will be more conducive to his survival, because those cosmic ghosts can not only become his cover, can even become his medical kit, allowing him to recover from his injuries and body consumption more quickly. Although Wang Feng could have used his own energy reserves to recover, before coming, Wang Feng had transported most of his energy reserves to the human race's defense fortress and those space battleships, and he did not have any at all. As much as possible, Wang Feng tried not to use his brother now that he was able to do without him. Anyway, Xian Yuan sword absorbs life energy very quickly now. Basically, it doesn't even take half a second. When it kills a cosmic ghost, it can directly suck him into a mummy. Therefore, now that the cosmic ghost is used as a supply, there is no need to waste any of Wang Feng's time and energy. He is going to be killed anyway, so just treat it as an extra trophy. When Wang Feng entered the next level, the cosmic ghost still had no ground infantry troops. There were only a few small fighters inside to intercept Wang Feng. However, this time, those small fighters did not directly impact, but maintained a certain distance. Use the beam cannon to shoot at Wang Feng. So at this level, Wang Feng had no chance to kill any cosmic ghosts. He just teleported to the ground, delayed for a while, and then teleported directly to the next layer after waiting for the teleport time to recover. After reaching the 17th floor, the scene used by the cosmic ghost to welcome Wang Feng was much bigger this time, because on the upper floor, the cosmic ghost did not want to send some ground troops to stop Wang Feng, because it was discovered that a simple small fighter plane did not seem to be able to cause real trouble to Wang Feng. But Cosmic Ghost only just learned about this situation, so when they went up to the next level, they had no time to make changes. Therefore, only the few small fighters arranged before were waiting for Wang Feng. And because Wang Feng was also delayed for a period of time on the upper level, giving Cosmic Ghost enough time to prepare. Therefore, in this level, not only were there many more small fighters, reaching more than 30, the ground was also full of Space Ghost guards. As soon as Wang Feng appeared, they all started firing at Wang Feng. Fortunately, although Wang Feng did not expect that there were so many enemies on this floor, he was already prepared to deal with all situations. When he just revealed his body and saw the situation on this floor clearly, he was instantly attacked. Moved, came to the ground, and rushed into the ground troops of Space Ghost. The reason why there are so many small fighters on this floor is because the Space Ghost has no shortage of small fighters at all. The other reason is because they previously believed that too many small fighters would make them constrained when flying. The flexibility of small fighters cannot be used. But after intercepting Wang Feng with a small fighter plane before, Cosmic Ghost discovered that they were actually overthinking it. No matter how the small fighters performed, with so many small fighters, they seemed unable to really hit Wang Feng. So they simply didn't need small fighter planes to pursue him, and just let them float in the air and use them as a fixed fort to shoot at Wang Feng. Anyway, there are no defensive fire points installed in their military zone. These small fighters are just here to make up for this shortcoming. It has to be said that this move of the Cosmic Ghost is indeed ruthless, because dozens of small fighter planes are equivalent to hundreds of fixed aerial firepower points, and can almost completely cover the entire ground on this level. However, at this level, the Cosmic Ghost did something superfluous, that is, there were densely packed infantry on the ground. Because of these infantry, the small fighters in the air were simply unable to shoot with full firepower, because in that case, the most unlucky thing would be their own ground troops. Looking at the situation on the screen, the members of the Elder Council no longer had the energy to shout, because this was the first time that other races had broken into their lair, so they had no experience, so it was reasonable. Now they are constantly blocking Wang Feng to improve their defensive experience. After all, the Cosmic Ghost is a race that runs rampant in the outer universe, and offense is their strength. The battlefields are always on the planets of other races. Where has there ever been a battle on their own territory? There are only 2 times when the Cosmic Ghost fought against other races on their own territory, once with the original star, and once here. And coincidentally, in these 2 battles, they fought against the human race, and they were both led by the human race Wang Feng. What about the next floor? A member of the Council of Elders said feebly that he no longer dared to come up with ideas, because no matter what they did, when Wang Feng really appeared, they seemed to be able to find out immediately that their arrangements were a bit ill-conceived, and it was not the fault here. It's just that it's wrong there, and I can't even find the right place. How about, try to withdraw the ground troops? An elder said tentatively that he did not dare to speak in a positive tone now, because this human race is really weird. No. We'll replace him with someone else. Another veteran stood up directly and said decisively, then pointed at Wang Feng on the screen and said, "We have only one way to kill him now." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1153. What can I do? Several other elders looked at the Cosmic Ghost who spoke. In fact, based on what the Cosmic Ghost elder said before, the other elders could also think of the method he was going to take that was said to be able to kill human beings. It was nothing more than ignoring the following. Those guards just ordered the small fighter planes to fire downwards. However, this method is obviously not so easy to accept for those Cosmic Ghost guards, so no other Cosmic Ghost elders have spoken out. After all, it seems that for others to say it, and for them to feel safer. The Cosmic Ghost elder who spoke before obviously knew what the other elders were thinking, but now he didn't care so much. Anyway, there had to be someone who was the first to speak. Now they had no time to delay. Since the others, if you don't dare to say it, then just be the sinner yourself. Otherwise, if this continues, they will have to use this method sooner or later. In that case, more soldiers will be massacred by that human race. The elder of this Cosmic Ghost doesn't know why the human race has such a powerful guy. Fortunately, it seems that there is only one human race with this kind of perversion. Although the other human races are also quite ferocious, at least they are all step by step. Who was going down the stairs one level at a time? Unexpectedly, this pervert quickly reached the lower level in a flash. Now Qiu Jian and the others are also rushing towards the lower part of the military zone, but obviously they can only take the stairs. In this way, it becomes easier for the Space Ghost to block their forces to assemble, so the speed of their downward thrust is not as fast as it was unpleasant, but precisely because of this, the number of people they killed exceeded Wang Feng. Although there were also small fighter planes involved in the battle to stop them, in this closed space, Qiu Jian and the others were not as defenseless against the air strikes as they were outside. Although none of them can fly, they can still reach a height of tens of meters by jumping, and it seems that the ground troops can also achieve some results in blocking them, although the infantry of the Space Ghost have suffered heavy losses. But Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu also failed, so Cosmic Ghost feels that the most important thing at the moment is the human race that controls the space system. Therefore, after small fighters appeared several times and were chopped down by Qiu Jian with his sword, Cosmic Ghost simply used only infantry to rent them, leaving more experiences with Wang Feng. Give an order to the pilots of those small fighter planes and order them to fire directly after seeing the human race. Don't worry about your own ground troops and carry out indiscriminate coverage shooting. The Cosmic Ghost veteran stood up and said directly to the Cosmic Ghost next to him, who was responsible for conveying orders. He did not tell his own method first and let others discuss and vote. Anyway, if he wanted to be a bad guy, he would just do it. Be more thorough and issue the order directly. In this way, other Cosmic Ghost elders will use their own inability to stop his order as an excuse to stay out of the matter. Sure enough, after the Cosmic Ghost elder said the order, the other Cosmic Ghost elders all showed shocked looks, but none of them took the initiative to speak out to refute him. The Herald of Universe Yueling, who heard his order, saw that the other elders did not show any expression, so he directly conveyed the order. It wasn't until they saw that this order had been conveyed that the other elders of Cosmic Ghost awakened from a dream and spoke one after another. Our loss is too great, right? Alas! Those ground troops will probably suffer heavy casualties. Look! He disappeared again. Switch the screen to the next level immediately. A Cosmic Ghost veteran pointed at the screen and shouted loudly. The order was now in effect. They all wanted to know whether this order would make the human race sink into the sand and fall under the indiscriminate coverage of their small fighter planes. At this level, Wang Feng still moved his body a few times after appearing. Then, at the moment when the gunfire of the small fighter plane focused on him, he teleported to the ground and entered the infantry of the Cosmic Ghost group, use their bodies to reduce their chances of being attacked from a distance. However, Wang Feng miscalculated this time. Those small fighters did not give up attacking him after he entered the infantry group because of the obstruction of his own people, as they did on the previous 2 floors. After he entered the ground, those small fighters all pointed their noses in the direction of Wang Feng. Then, as if commanded by someone, all the small fighters opened their firepower to the maximum at the same time. Looking at Wang Feng's position below, he opened fire with all his strength. In an instant, the area where Wang Feng was located was completely covered by energy beams. Both Wang Feng and the Cosmic Ghosts surrounding him were directly submerged by the energy beams at this moment. The elders of the Cosmic Ghosts stared at the screen intently. Although it seemed that the human race should die, because this human race has the power of teleportation, they did not dare to confirm Wang Feng's life and death now. Wang Feng certainly didn't die, but the Cosmic Ghost did make him suffer a little loss, mainly because he had just teleported down, so after discovering the situation, he couldn't use teleport again to avoid the coverage of the energy beam. Fortunately, at this time, Wang Feng was on the ground. Although he couldn't use teleport immediately, he could still use the wind. In fact, the speed of the wind on the ground is not much slower than teleportation for a short distance, but teleportation is a spatial attribute ability, which directly tears the space and transfers people directly from one point to another, and is not blocked by any objects. The wind is moving, so it will leave a track between 2 points, and it can't pass through objects. For example, Wang Feng can't use the wind to make himself cross the floor and move directly to the next floor. He must go through the stairs. But in the situation just now, the gust of wind was able to make Wang Feng avoid the center of the energy beam coverage shooting. Although Wang Feng was not able to completely escape the firepower range of the energy beam due to the urgency of time, at least he avoided the center area, where the energy explosion was the most intense. However, Wang Feng was still within the attack range of the energy beam. Even at the edge, he was wounded and his combat power was at least reduced by more than half. Even Wang Feng, who escaped to the edge, was like this, and the infantry of the Cosmic Ghosts were even more miserable. Those Cosmic Ghosts in the central area were annihilated, and those Cosmic Ghosts on the edge basically lost their combat power. However, Wang Feng did not dare to attack directly to kill those Cosmic Ghosts and use their life energy to recover from his injuries. Because the small fighters in the air were still checking the ground with a covetous look. Once Wang Feng was exposed, it was clear that there would be another round of coverage shooting. Now Wang Feng was lying on the ground, with two cosmic ghost corpses covering him. Moreover, this layer was in a mess because of the coverage shooting of small fighters. Especially when the beam energy covered the ground before, because of the influence of white light, the small fighters in the air did not find the movement track of Wang Feng, who moved to the edge after launching the gust of wind. So their sight was still focused on the area where Wang Feng was before, but now that area was full of torn corpses, and not even a slightly intact corpse could be found. Those surviving cosmic ghost guards were also stunned by the coverage shooting this time. They all stood still and dared not move. Some smart guys had guessed that they had become victims of the Elders' Council, because if there was no order from the Elders' Council, the pilots of those small fighters would not have the courage to carry out such indiscriminate coverage shooting. But they had no way to deal with it. They were not qualified to oppose the order of the Elders' Council. While no one was aware of him, Wang Feng quickly mobilized the life energy stored in his body and tried his best to repair his injuries. Now he didn't dare to kill the infantry of the universe ghost to seize the life energy, so he could only use his own stock. Under the critical situation, Wang Feng didn't care about saving anymore. He mobilized the life energy in his body to quickly restore his body full of holes. Is that guy dead? The elders of the Elders' Council looked at the quiet battlefield after the energy beams dispersed, and asked with some doubt. Because the energy shooting had just been carried out, the energy fluctuations on this level were still very strong, so the life detector could not work at all, so they were not sure whether the human race was dead or not. However, judging from the situation at the scene, it seemed that the human race should have been killed, because the area where he was before was the focus of the small fighter planes and the center of the energy explosion. In that area, there was no larger body at all, so the human race should have been torn into pieces like the infantry of the universe ghost. Fire coverage again. Target, all corners of the current level. Just as those cosmic ghost elders were looking for evidence that Wang Feng was dead, a voice suddenly sounded. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1154. What? Hearing this voice, all the elders were startled, and then looked in the direction of the voice. Great, great prophet. When seeing this cosmic ghost, all the cosmic ghosts present were shocked, and then shouted together. The one who appeared in front of them was a cosmic ghost who couldn't be any older. The wrinkles on his face were dense and looked extremely scary, but this face was a face that most of the cosmic ghosts present could recognize. This old guy, whose age no cosmic ghost could remember at all, was the great prophet of the cosmic ghost clan. He was originally the real controller of the cosmic ghost clan. It was his idea that the cosmic ghosts were enemies with the human race. However, this old guy had rarely appeared a long time ago, and even those cosmic ghosts had not seen this guy with the identity of the great prophet for many years. But no cosmic ghost dared to question his authority, even the members of the Elders' Council. Thinking that the Elders' Council was created because the great prophet was too lazy to manage the cosmic ghosts, and the great prophet's strength was also quite terrifying. At least, no cosmic ghost knew when he appeared here. Only when he spoke did all the cosmic ghosts present see this legendary existence. Execute the order immediately. The human race is not dead yet, but injured. We must seize this opportunity. The great prophet ignored the surprise of the cosmic ghosts, but looked at the screen and said. As the great prophet of the cosmic ghosts, he could feel the breath of Wang Feng, the enemy of the cosmic ghost fate. At least, he knew that the biggest enemy was still alive. Yes. Hearing the words of the great prophet, the members of the Elders' Council did not dare to hesitate. Even one elder did not wait for the high-level cosmic ghosts to give orders. He directly grabbed the communicator and shouted inside. All small fighters, pay attention, immediately cover the floor where the human race is located again, and the fighters outside will also join the battle. Don't leave any dead angle. At all costs, this is the order of the Great Prophet. With the Great Prophet speaking, the members of the Elders' Council no longer have any scruples, and he used the command channel that all cosmic ghost warriors can hear, instead of a separate channel that only the pilots of small fighters can hear. Because this order was issued by the Great Prophet, even the surviving cosmic ghost infantry on that layer would not have any complaints in their hearts after hearing that this order was issued by the Great Prophet. Although they knew that they might die because of this order, they would still feel extremely honored. The Great Prophet of the Cosmic Ghost is actually similar to Dong Huang Tai, but the Great Prophet of the Cosmic Ghost has much more power than the Great Prophet of the human race. Even Dong Huang Tai needs to consider the feelings of Fuxi and others, and sometimes he will be restrained by the three emperors of the human race. But in the Cosmic Ghost, such a thing will never happen. The members of the Elders' Council dare not question any order of the Great Prophet at all. Even if the Great Prophet asks them to enter the battlefield to serve as cannon fodder now, they will not hesitate at all. Even these supreme members of the Elders' Council have this attitude towards the Great Prophet, let alone those ordinary cosmic ghost soldiers. In their opinion, it is an extremely honorable thing to be able to die in battle because of executing the orders of the Great Prophet. At least they all know that any order of the Great Prophet is absolutely for the entire Cosmic Ghost clan. Sure enough, because this Cosmic Ghost Elder added the last sentence when he issued the order in the communicator, this is the order of the Great Prophet. So this order was executed quite thoroughly. Not only did all the small fighters that were originally on that floor start to frantically launch energy beams downwards, but even the small fighters on standby outside also swarmed in, not caring whether they would collide with their own people because of too many fighters. In an instant, more violent energy fluctuations than before suddenly erupted, and in the middle there were also many explosions of small fighters that crashed directly because of the hasty entry and collided with the small fighters that were inside before. This time, not only were the Cosmic Ghost ground forces that had entered this floor before directly wiped out, but even those small fighters lost a lot because of the violent energy fluctuations or direct collisions, accounting for at least 1/3 of the small fighters that entered this floor. This time the energy burst lasted longer, because the previous order did not specify how long they should launch the attack, so those small fighters all kept shooting downwards, not even bothering to distinguish the direction and position. Anyway, they just had to use up all the energy stored in the beam cannon. As for where the target was, no one cared, because they didn't know where the target was anyway. After more than 10 minutes, the beam cannon's shooting finally became less intensive and soon stopped, because those small fighters had exhausted all their energy. Many of them were even unable to maintain their suspension and fell down directly. Fortunately, their energy had been exhausted and the height of this floor was not so high, so these small fighters that fell directly did not explode due to the impact with the ground, and the pilots inside also saved their lives. After the coverage shooting ended, the elders of the Cosmic Ghost all looked at the Great Prophet, because since the Great Prophet was here, they didn't need to go to the screen to try to find the human's body from the mess. Whether the human was dead or not, the Great Prophet would definitely give them an accurate answer. However, they could not see any expression on the Great Prophet's face, because even if there was any expression on the Great Prophet's old face, they could not tell it at all, because it was covered with layers of wrinkles. Even if his eyes were open, these cosmic ghosts could not tell. However, for this pair of eyes that seemed to be blocked by eyelids, they could see the future. It seemed that all the cosmic ghosts had no doubts. Therefore, now these cosmic ghosts were staring at the Great Prophet, hoping to get the answer they wanted from him. However, the Great Prophet's actions disappointed them in the end. Although the Great Prophet did not speak, the slowly shaking head told them that the previous round of bombing did not fulfill their wishes, and the human race was still alive. Wang Feng was indeed still alive, thanks to the Cosmic Ghost Elder who issued the Great Prophet's order, who used the command channel. Therefore, Wang Feng, who was slowly recovering from his injuries on the ground, also heard this order. Not to mention that he had taken the communicator of the cosmic ghost. Even the communicators on the two cosmic ghost corpses that he used to cover his body were enough for Wang Feng to hear the order that almost killed him here. After hearing this order, although Wang Feng didn't know what this great prophet was, at least he knew that he couldn't stay on this floor anymore. If he didn't disappear immediately, he would probably disappear forever. Fortunately, after this period of recovery, Wang Feng can now activate teleportation again, but Wang Feng didn't use it immediately. He just moved the two cosmic ghost corpses on his body a little away and stared at the small fighter planes above with full concentration. Afterwards, when those small fighters opened fire together and countless white lights lit up, Wang Feng quickly stood up, kicked his feet hard on the ground, and jumped up like a cannonball. Then, when he was about to come into contact with those beams of energy, Wang Feng's figure disappeared directly. Before, Wang Feng did not use teleportation directly on the ground, because at that time, if he used teleportation, he could only move to the next floor, and Wang Feng felt that it was not a good idea to enter the next floor at this time, so he sent his body into the air at the moment when the small fighter opened fire, and then teleported to the upper floor, which was the floor he just left. Facts have proved that Wang Feng's decision was correct, because on the next floor, the cosmic ghost had already laid a net, and even from the next floor to the 55th floor, there were a large number of ambushes waiting for Wang Feng. After all, this is the cosmic ghost's lair, and the escort fleet outside has been transferred back, so now the cosmic ghost's troops are enough to fill the floors below. And now with the order from the Great Prophet, it can be said that the cosmic ghost has no scruples anymore. It will do its best to kill Wang Feng, even if it means sacrificing more of its ground troops. If Wang Feng had entered the next level directly after hearing the order, he would have been discovered by the cosmic ghost on the next level, and the indiscriminate attack that had occurred before would also be staged on that level. Wang Feng, who had just teleported here, would most likely fall there if he could not use teleportation immediately. Even if he did not fall in the first wave of attacks, he would not be able to hold on for long. The upper level had been in a mess because it had been covered by shooting, and Wang Feng had been going down since he appeared. Therefore, there were no soldiers of the cosmic ghost on this level. They only wanted to kill the human race immediately. As for the ruins after the battle, they had no time to clean up now. Especially because the covering shooting just now had caused the life detector on this level to fail, and there were no small fighter planes, so Wang Feng was temporarily safe on this level. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1155. Of course, even so, Wang Feng can't wait here for a long time, because once the cosmic ghost finds that Wang Feng is not in the next floor, and because of the existence of the Great Prophet, they can clearly know that Wang Feng is not dead, so they will still come to this floor to search. As long as he enters a small fighter, Wang Feng will be exposed. No matter how well he hides, it will be useless, because the life detector on the small fighter will directly expose Wang Feng's existence. At that time, Wang Feng will still be in big trouble. However, Wang Feng has no choice now, because his injuries have not fully recovered, especially the emergency teleportation just now, which interrupted his previous healing. Therefore, Wang Feng must delay for some time and cannot immediately engage in battle. In fact, Wang Feng can continue to teleport upwards now, because the upper floors are all the ones Wang Feng has passed before, so they should be similar to this floor, and there will be no cosmic ghosts stationed. But it was limited to the upper floor, because the floors above were not concentrated by the small fighters of the cosmic ghost, so the life detectors on those floors were naturally working. So no matter whether there were cosmic ghosts stationed, as long as Wang Feng had entered those floors, he would be discovered by the life detectors directly. And Wang Feng didn't want to go back, because his mission was not completed yet. His goal was to destroy the main brain. If he went up now, he would have to kill again when he came down, and the situation would definitely be more dangerous than before. So after entering the upper floor, Wang Feng found a corner to hide, and then immediately mobilized his life energy with all his strength and began to restore his body. At this time, the cosmic ghost had already started to get busy, but although they had a large number of small fighters on the previous floor, the life detectors could not work at all because the energy fluctuations had not subsided. And the great prophet of the cosmic ghost could only feel that Wang Feng had not fallen yet. As for where Wang Feng was, he had no way of knowing. However, the life detector on the next floor did not respond, which means that the human race did not enter the next floor, so he is very likely in the floor that was bombarded before. However, the energy fluctuations on this floor are too intense, so the cosmic ghosts can only wait for a while. Of course, the cosmic ghosts will not wait there for the energy fluctuations to disappear. Although the life detector cannot work now, a large number of cosmic ghost infantry have entered the bombed floor just now under the order of the cosmic ghost elders to search for traces of the human race. These cosmic ghost infantrymen are very clear about the danger of their search. If they don't find anything, it's okay. Once they really find the human race, then, it is estimated that the previous coverage shooting will appear again. The previous batch of small fighters that ran out of energy have all evacuated and replaced by a new batch. Of course, those small fighters that withdrew from the battle due to energy exhaustion did not leave directly, but came to the location designated by the cosmic ghosts for inspection. They knew that Wang Feng had spatial abilities, so they were afraid that Wang Feng would hide in the small fighters and get out. In fact, for those members of the Elders' Council and the Great Prophet, they would rather Wang Feng mixed in those small fighters, because this can show that Wang Feng has lost most of his combat power. On the other hand, if Wang Feng wants to get out, their main brain will be safe. Killing Wang Feng is very important for the cosmic ghost, at least the Great Prophet definitely thinks so, but compared with their main brain, the main brain is definitely safer. Therefore, the cosmic ghost would rather Wang Feng cancel this action in order to save his life, so that at least their main brain is temporarily safe. As for the next time, with this lesson, the cosmic ghost will definitely change its defense method. At least, it will not let the human race easily break through their energy shield again. The cosmic ghost is not weak in strength, nor is it that the technological power is not strong enough. They are just not good at defense, because apart from the human race, no other race has the ability to burn the war to the cosmic ghost's lair. If the cosmic ghosts can survive this human raid, they will surely gain a lot of experience in defending their nests, making their nests even more difficult to break. However, Wang Feng is of course very clear about this situation, so this time he must be desperate. Before destroying the main brain, Wang Feng will never evacuate. It will be difficult to find such an opportunity next time. According to the strength comparison between the human race and the cosmic ghosts, if they fight hard on the front battlefield, the human race basically has no hope of victory. Even if they throw out all the trump cards such as defensive fortresses, they are not enough to compete with the huge fleet of the cosmic ghosts. So this time, whether for the human race or for Wang Feng, it can be regarded as their only chance to defeat the cosmic ghosts. However, the sudden appearance of the great prophet of the cosmic ghosts has undoubtedly added greater trouble to the human race, which is already at a disadvantage, because with him, the cosmic ghosts will not split, and the cohesion of the great prophet in the cosmic ghosts is not what Wang Feng and others can imagine. But don't say that Wang Feng doesn't know this at all. Even if he knows, he has no time to pay attention to the great prophet now. He has only one goal now, to destroy the mastermind. This is the only hope for the human race to defeat the cosmic ghost. The more high-tech a race is, the higher its reliance on these intelligent systems. Just like Atlantis before, after the human race was destroyed by the Sky-Fire, all electronic equipment was basically destroyed, and the consequences were, it is almost devastating to humans. All data was lost and all communications were interrupted. During that period, the human race could only rely on small makeshift camps to survive, unable to effectively organize and restore social order. The same is true for the cosmic ghosts. Their navigation, monitoring, and command systems are all responsible for the main brain. Once the main brain is paralyzed, their huge cosmic fleet will become deaf and blind, and even half of the combatants will "I can't even exert my strength." The great prophet of the cosmic ghost is staring at the screen at this time. However, due to the existence of energy fluctuations, the image transmitted back is not very clear. However, obviously this is not what the great prophet needs to care about. He is now speculating on what the human race is now. Was he injured by the previous wave of bombings that lasted for 10 minutes and lost his combat effectiveness, or had he left this floor and hid somewhere else? The evacuated small fighter planes and the floors above may become the hiding place of that human race. If this human race is not found, it is very likely that their cosmic ghost family will eventually be in the hands of this person. As early as many years ago, before Wang Fen was born, the great prophet of the universe ghost had already had a premonition that the human race would be the culprits in destroying the universe ghost clan. Unfortunately, although he had already started the layout a long time ago, but they still have not been able to eradicate the human race from this world. Now, they finally entered the final stage of decisive battle with the human race. This great prophet now has a very bad premonition. It was because of this premonition that he had to appear again. As the greatest prophet, this cosmic ghost is the same as Dong Huangtai. There are many things that he cannot express directly. Otherwise it will be directly counterattacked by the law of heaven. But now it's time for the life and death of the cosmic ghost clan. This great prophet can't care so much anymore. He can only show up to find a way to solve this human being who has brought them huge trouble. It's a pity that this great prophet can only roughly feel the direction of development of the situation, and he still cannot see clearly some details. This may be a restriction imposed by heaven on creatures with the ability to predict things like them. And what makes this great prophet sad is that sometimes, although he can predict the future, he is unable to change it, just like the human race. He tries every means to destroy the human race and change the fate of the ghost race in the universe. But now it seems that his development trajectory seems to have not changed due to his efforts. Their cosmic ghost clan was still broken through by the human race and forced into a dangerous situation. Those floors below. Continue to strengthen the guards, and send fighter planes to the floors above to search. The great prophet looked at the screen and said slowly. In addition, those small fighter planes that have withdrawn from the battle must be carefully inspected. Our people must go in and inspect each one in person, and no one can be missed. As for the human races above, Johnny, you go and mobilize them 2 elite guards, destroy them. I always feel that besides that human race, we have other hidden dangers. This is another sense of crisis in the heart of the great prophet. He has a feeling that the destruction of their cosmic ghost is not only related to the human race they wanted to kill before, but also other human races, or some creatures, which are also them. The key to the destruction of the cosmic ghost family, but he could only feel this feeling faintly in his heart, which was very unclear. Therefore, he was completely unable to determine where the current crisis was. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1156. The cosmic ghost he called Johnny was also a member of the Elders' Council, and he was also a very old elder. It was the great prophet who personally promoted this guy called Johnny to the position of elder. Therefore, for the great prophet's order, Damping certainly did not hesitate at all. He nodded directly and left with 2 high-level cosmic ghosts to deal with Qiu Jian and his men. Because the cosmic ghosts sent a large number of infantry to block them, and Qiu Jian and his men could only kill slowly from the stairs. Qiu Jian and his men did not progress very fast. So far, they have only advanced 1.5 floors. Fortunately, the stairwell is relatively narrow, so it is not convenient for small fighters to attack them. And because their combat power is also quite strong, but with the existence of Wang Feng, a pervert, their performance is not conspicuous, and the cosmic ghost did not use the radical routines to deal with them as they did with Wang Feng. However, now that the great prophet has appeared and regards them as a potential source of crisis in his heart, they have now re-entered the side of the cosmic ghost. The universe ghost elder named Johnny has brought 2 senior officials to the guards to summon an elite guard. These elite guards are the strongest army of the universe ghost. They did not take action in the previous battle with Wang Feng because they are now on standby below the 50th floor, which is their battlefield. These elite guards will not take action until the last moment, but now with the order of the great prophet, Johnny will naturally not hide these elite guards anymore, especially since the great prophet directly named him to transfer 2 elite guards. Seeing Johnny leave, the other universe ghost elders did not express anything. Now that the great prophet has returned, the highest command will naturally be handed back to the great prophet. Not to mention that he only asked Johnny to transfer 2 elite guards. Even if all of them were transferred away, no one would say anything. Elite Guard Universe Ghost has only 12 teams in such a long time, and the number of people in each team is only 200. Although the total number is only 2,400, these 2,400 Universe Ghosts are the strongest elites among the Universe Ghosts. Moreover, the mission of this elite guard is to protect the main brain, so they are good at close combat. They don't use space battleships and small fighters at all, so it's just right to use them to deal with Qiu Jian and his men. After Johnny summoned 2 elite guards to intercept Qiu Jian and his men, the other orders of the Great Prophet were also issued by other members of the Elders' Council and immediately executed thoroughly. And Wang Feng, at this time, entered the side of the cosmic ghost again. Wang Feng, who was recovering from his injuries, suddenly found that 5 small fighters flew in on his floor. Although his body had not recovered yet, he had to leave this floor immediately. However, this time Wang Feng did not use teleportation, but directly launched a gust of wind and rushed towards the direction of the stairs. Now his combat power has not been fully recovered, and the cosmic ghost has begun to increase a large number of small fighters and ground troops to encircle him. So Wang Feng must keep teleportation to save his life now. Otherwise, if he was hit by countless small fighters like before and couldn't teleport immediately, he would probably die directly. His mission was not yet completed, and he absolutely couldn't die here easily. Now he could be said to be the last hope of the human race. The 5 small fighters found that their life detectors had responded just after entering this floor. Of course, they immediately thought that the human race was here, so they immediately reported it to the upper level. Just as they told the communicator that the human race was on their floor, they saw a figure flashing at an incredibly fast speed and flying directly towards the direction of the stairs. That was Wang Feng, who was preparing to move down from the stairs after discovering them. However, Wang Feng's advancement this time was not so smooth. Although Wang Feng changed a way of advancing and no longer teleported directly to a position far away from the stairs as before, he was still blocked by a large group of cosmic ghosts. Because now, whether it is the floor, the stairs, or even the elevator, it is all filled with the army of the cosmic ghost. No matter which direction Wang Feng appears, he will be surrounded by the cosmic ghost. Now the cosmic ghost has mobilized all the available forces, so they don't have to guess where Wang Feng will appear. Anyway, they have filled the floor from here to the main brain with their own soldiers. Moreover, the cosmic ghost is now taking special care of Wang Feng. Even in a relatively narrow space like the stairwell, there are still small fighters. Although the number is small, it still brings some trouble to Wang Feng, who has not yet recovered his peak combat power. Especially now, Wang Feng dare not use teleportation easily. He wants to keep it to save his life at the most critical moment. In this relatively narrow space, even if Wang Feng launches the gust of wind, he can't fully exert his speed, because he is almost surrounded by cosmic ghosts. After swinging his sword to kill several cosmic ghost soldiers who are close to him, and rolling directly on the ground to avoid the beam shooting of the small fighter, Wang Feng continued to kill downwards. He tried it just now, wanting to see if his Xianyuan sword could penetrate the floor so that he could reach the next floor faster, but after trying it, Wang Feng gave up the idea. The material of this building is quite hard. Although Wang Feng's Xianyuan sword can still cause some damage to it, it cannot achieve Wang Feng's purpose at all. Moreover, Wang Feng is now surrounded by space ghost soldiers, and it is impossible for them to hide. On the side, you are watching Wang Feng digging their floor, right? Therefore, Wang Feng can only rely on his own strength to fight towards the lower level surrounded by the cosmic ghost infantry. The advantage of the stairwell is that the space is small, so even if small fighters can enter, the number cannot exceed 5. Therefore, it is impossible to send out large-scale coverage shots like before. However, although the strike force in the air is smaller, the cosmic ghost infantry on the ground is more difficult to deal with than before. One is because of the appearance of the Great Prophet, which makes these cosmic ghost infantry move up desperately as if they have been given blood. Chong, even if they exchanged the death of a dozen cosmic ghost soldiers for a scar on Wang Feng, they did not hesitate at all. Another reason is that this is a staircase, and the terrain is naturally much more complicated than on a flat surface. In addition, the infantry of the cosmic ghost has filled up the entire space in the stairwell, which means that Wang Feng is surrounded by enemies in front, back, left, and right. In this environment, Wang Feng's speed advantage was completely unable to be used, so now Wang Feng's impact speed has slowed down a lot. Even Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu, with the cooperation of the 3 miners, found it very difficult to move forward in the corridor, let alone Wang Feng now alone, but there is an advantage in doing so, that is, Wang Feng can always he recovered his injuries through the cosmic ghosts he killed. Therefore, although Wang Feng suffered a lot of injuries along the way, his true combat power not only did not decline, but actually recovered. At this time, the elder Johnny, who was sent out by the great prophet of the space ghost, had led 2 elite guards to the location of Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu. It can be said that these 2 guys and Sang Xiao are now under the influence of Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu. With the absolute VIP level treatment of Cosmic Ghost, even Wang Feng can't compare. This is the first time the elite guards have taken action in the war between the human race and the Cosmic Ghosts. Even now, there are no elite guards on Wang Feng to intercept him, but Qiu Jian and the others got this honor first. This is because the great prophet of the cosmic ghost seems to feel that there is a huge crisis in himself, but it does not come from Wang Feng. This feeling makes him very uneasy, so he pays so much attention to Qiu Jian and the others. As for Wang Feng, he is still far away from the position of the master brain, and the elite guards are already waiting at the level where the master brain is. When this human race is on the 54th floor, he will be blocked by the elite guards with all their strength. Now these universes the ghost's infantry were just draining the human's physical strength. Especially now that the human race has been frightened by the previous coverage shooting, and they dare not walk on the floors anymore. They only dare to move down the corridor. In this case, they only need infantry to attack. Although these infantrymen did not seem to be able to bring actual harm to Wang Feng, at least under the current situation, the great prophet was satisfied. He wanted to first get rid of the human races that made him palpitate, and get rid of the evil in his heart. That shadow, and then use all their strength to deal with this human race. Anyway, this human race has now penetrated deep into their military zone and shows no signs of evacuating at all. You guys retreat and give up your position, Johnny said to the cosmic ghost guards in front of him who were surrounding Qiu Jian, Xiao, and others. Then he waved his hand and the cosmic ghost elite guards following him immediately stepped forward, took over the positions of the ordinary guards, and surrounded Qiu Jian. Them. Try to catch them alive, the great prophet wants to see them. Looking at Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu, Johnny coldly ordered the elite guards, but his voice made Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu stunned, and they looked at Johnny with some doubts. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1157. The elite guards did not notice the expressions of Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian. After replacing those who originally surrounded these people, they directly launched an attack, because after entering the corridor to fight, killing Sang Xiao also needed to help Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian. The sword resisted the attack from behind, so now 2 of the 3 miners showed their bodies and did not use stealth. Only Wang Mi had been hiding aside, ready to take action to rescue them in a critical moment. However, to the surprise of the elite guards, these 4 human races did not seem to be as powerful as they imagined. Although the attribute of the guy using the long sword was very strange, he killed more than a dozen of their companions, but the 2 elites, the 400 cosmic ghosts of the escort team, successfully captured Qiu Jian and the others in less than 10 minutes, with a total loss of more than 30 elite guards. Although this kind of record is still not brilliant, at least compared with other cosmic ghosts, it is still reasonable. At least they have achieved the final victory. Because of Zunni's previous orders, Xiao Wu, Qiu Jian, and 2 of the 3 children, although they were covered with injuries, were not fatal. At least they could still walk on their own power, but it seemed that they were not fatal. Just very weak. Take them and follow me. Johnny, the veteran of the universe ghost, looked at the captured Qiu Jian and the other 4, said something lightly, and then turned around to lead the way. However, the elite guards who were originally looking unruly looked at Johnny with eyes that had already changed. There is some fear. These 4 human beings were successfully defeated and captured. As a veteran, Zunni could be said to have played an important role. Even the last blow of the 4 people was completed by this Zunni. Originally among these elite guards, although the elders were their direct superiors, they did not respect these elders in their hearts, because these elite guards only respected the strong and would never enter in person. The members of the Elder Council on the battlefield naturally do not get their true respect. But this battle made these elite guards really change their views, and they also saw Johnny's strength with their own eyes. It can be said that in a one-on-one situation, none of these elite guards dared to. He said he could survive Johnny's full attack for 3 seconds. However, looking at Johnny's expression, it was obvious that he did not regard this battle as a great achievement, so his expression was quite calm, and there was no show-off or pride in his eyes. Therefore, he originally thought that he was a member of the Cosmic Ghost clan. The elite guards of the most powerful warriors now seemed very restrained. Even such a powerful elder didn't show off his power. What qualifications did these elite guards have to show off, with their strength and status far below them? With these elite guards escorting Qiu Jian and 4 others, Johnny went directly to the place where he left before, which was the hall where the great prophet of the Cosmic Ghost was. This place was not close to the location of the mastermind, because the members of the association do not want the place where they are to be the target of the human race, so of course they will not set up the headquarters on the floor where the mastermind is located. And because there is no sign of any human race here, even though the security is tight, it seems very peaceful. Wait for me at the door. When he arrived at the entrance of the hall, Johnny stopped, waved to the elite guards behind him, and then walked into the hall. After Johnny entered the hall, the other elders all looked at him, because Johnny went out with a mission. Why did he come back so soon? Because the great prophet did not express his strange feeling, the attention of these elders is still focused on Wang Feng, and they do not care about the battle situation of the other human races. How about it? The great prophet was the first to ask. Now the uneasy feeling in his heart is getting stronger and stronger, as if he has been shrouded in death. However, he cannot guess the source of this sense of crisis, but now their headquarters among them, apart from the seemingly unkillable human race, there is only another wave of human race. As long as they are dealt with, my sense of crisis will disappear, right? Complete the mission successfully. Johnny nodded, then looked at the screen that still showed Wang Feng fighting the cosmic ghost and said, I feel, we seem to have overestimated the human race. After hearing what Zuni said, both the elders and the great prophet were stunned, not knowing what Zuni was referring to. Seeing the expressions of these people, Johnny pointed directly at the door where he had just entered and said, I just went to meet those humans, and I feel that they are not as strong as we imagined. The reason why they appear to be so powerful is because our warriors are not very good at close combat at all. Think about our previous battle methods, which used space battleships as the main force, with small fighter planes as the auxiliary. They rushed directly into a planet and then destroyed all their bases. By the time we needed ground battles, the overall situation was basically over. It's time to decide. By then, our enemies will have been frightened out of their wits. How can they still be in the mood to fight us? The 4 human races outside the door relied on the strength of 4 people to fight with our escort for so long. Although they did not advance a few floors, they killed thousands of our soldiers. But I took our after the elite guards passed by, we captured these 4 people alive in less than 10 minutes. Our elite guards specialize in close combat, because their duty is to protect the mastermind in the central area of the headquarters. They have no chance to use space battleships and small fighter planes, so they took action, and those humans were quickly captured. You captured them alive. Hearing Zuni's words, the great prophet was surprised, because everyone knows that it is much more difficult to capture an enemy alive than to kill it. If they really captured all 4 humans alive and it only took such a short time, then maybe they really looked up to the humans. That's right. Johnny nodded and said. Because I thought, maybe these humans would be more useful to the great prophet if they were alive. At least, after we get their memories, we can know how many humans are left here and what they plan to do. Attack us. Yeah. That's right. You did a great job. The great prophet nodded quickly. In fact, if these 4 human races were really prisoners, they would be of far more use to the great prophet than Johnny said. However, the great prophet did not intend to tell the truth. He originally wanted to let the elites directly the guards brought those humans here, but because of the growing uneasiness in his heart, the great prophet of the cosmic ghost became much more cautious. Call their captain in, I have something to ask. The great prophet pointed to the door and signaled Johnny to call the captains of the 2 elite escort teams in. He wanted to follow the 2 captains to confirm the original situation. Yes. Johnny nodded, immediately turned around and walked out. In fact, he could have asked other cosmic ghosts to convey this order, but for some reason, Johnny went out to call people himself. And because Johnny captured the human race alive, something that was beyond their expectation, all the cosmic ghosts present did not notice a problem, that is, the 2 high-level cosmic ghosts who left with Johnny before did not know why didn't you come back with Johnny. Johnny soon came back with the 2 elite guard captains. Before he came to the great prophet, Johnny was the first to speak. The great prophet was led by the 2 of them. Under the leadership of the 2 of them, the 4 humans were captured by them in less than 10 minutes. Our elite guards are indeed very powerful in close combat. Compared with ordinary, the guards are much stronger. After hearing Johnny's words, the 2 captains looked at each other. They were at the scene when they fought against the humans, so of course they knew in their hearts that the one who had the greatest contribution to the capture of these 4 humans was the elder Johnny. Maybe they can capture these 4 human races in the end, but it is absolutely impossible to do it in such a short period of time, and they may suffer heavy losses. But now that Johnny has said this, the 2 captains will certainly not point out the errors in Johnny's statement. In fact, the 2 captains are also feeling awkward about the previous battle. They should be the main force in the battle, and the elders are their superiors, especially the elite guards who have the least chance of taking action, because before this time, no one has ever been able to break into the lair of the Space Ghost. Therefore, this time, it can be said that this is the first real battle between these two elite guards. Before, they were just training continuously. Of course, these elite guards are all carefully selected from the soldiers of Cosmic Ghost, so there is absolutely no shortage of actual combat experience. It is just the first time for them to fight against foreigners as elite guards. However, in their first battle with this identity, the results did not seem to be very satisfactory. There were only 4 opponents, but they suffered heavy casualties, especially the last person arrested was their boss, the veteran who was supposed to be protected by them. Such a thing, of course, makes these people who always think that they are the most elite warriors of the universe Ghost feel a great loss of face. So now Johnny's statement is equivalent to saving their face, so the two captains simply made an acquiescence. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1158. For the two captains of the elite guards, if they open their mouths to correct Johnny now, then their 2 elite guards will be embarrassed today, and they will become the laughing stock of other elite guards after they go back, which they are unwilling to accept. Besides, the current situation was said by Johnny, not them, and even if it is found out in the end, it is not their responsibility. Although there were many ordinary Space Ghost soldiers present at the time, those soldiers were not qualified to enter here, so there was no worry that they would spread it. Besides, those soldiers might not even recognize Johnny, the elder, because even if Johnny was wearing the same uniform as them, running to the front line in a unique uniform would obviously be giving credit to the enemy. This truth is of course very clear to the Space Ghosts who often fight with various races. The Great Prophet felt a little strange about Johnny's words. In his cognition, Johnny didn't seem to be a talkative guy. However, he thought that he might have discovered that the human race was not that powerful, and the Great Prophet himself was also anxious to find the source of the sense of crisis in his heart, so he didn't take it to heart. "Tell me how you caught them." The Great Prophet looked at the 2 elite guard captains and said, "Yes." The 2 captains saluted the Great Prophet and then told the story of how they caught Xiu Jian and the other 4 humans from beginning to end. However, because of what the elder Johnny said before, they told the battle process vaguely and didn't mention Johnny's name, as if Johnny was also their warrior at the time. After listening to the 2 captains, the Great Prophet hesitated. If it was really as the 2 captains said, then what Johnny said before was not that the human race was too strong, but that his soldiers were too weak in close combat. This statement is really tenable. But if that was the case, why did he have such a serious sense of crisis in his heart? It was as if today was the end of the universe Ghost, especially the Great Prophet himself, who seemed to feel that something big was going to happen to him today. Bring all those human races in. The Great Prophet was silent for a while, and said to the 2 captains. In order to find out where the unknown crisis in his heart came from, the Great Prophet decided to bring those human races over to see, perhaps after devouring their consciousness and obtaining their memories, he would be able to find the source of the crisis in his heart that he was still uncertain about. Yes. The 2 captains saluted the Great Prophet again, and then turned and walked out. Wait. At this moment, Johnny suddenly called the 2 captains, and then turned to the Great Prophet and said, "Great Prophet, although the 4 human races seem to have no fighting power, for the sake of safety, I think it is better to use the God-trapping net to trap them and then bring them to you." The Great Prophet was stunned, and then nodded. The God-trapping net that Johnny mentioned is a special net used by the Cosmic Ghost to deal with some powerful creatures, because the Cosmic Ghost prefers to absorb the vitality of living beings, and the more powerful the life form, the more the Cosmic Ghost likes it. As elders, they certainly have the privilege of choosing their own food first. Therefore, when they are in the outer universe, every time a race is destroyed, the most powerful existence in that race will become the food of the members of the elders. The God-trapping net was specially created for this purpose. Because they want to maintain the vitality of those strong men, it is not convenient to use anesthesia and other means to deal with these strong men, so the high-level cosmic ghosts specially developed this kind of net to restrain these strong men. As the name suggests, the cosmic ghosts are very confident in the net they made. They believe that even if a god is caught in this net, he will not be able to escape, so they gave it such an arrogant name. However, because the material of this net is quite rare, there are only 2 cosmic ghosts, all of which are kept in the Elders' Council. The reason why they did not use this net to deal with Wang Feng is that this human race has spatial abilities, so the god-trapping net cannot achieve the purpose of restraining him. As for Xiao Wu and the others, the cosmic ghosts did not regard them as a big threat, so they did not think of using this. Although the great prophet attached great importance to Qiu Jian and the others after his arrival, he had not managed the affairs of the cosmic ghosts for too long, so he had forgotten the existence of the god-trapping net. If Johnny had not mentioned it, the great prophet might not have remembered it now. Kafka. Take the god-trapping nets, let's go, and bring those 4 humans in. After getting the great prophet's consent, Johnny turned around and shouted to another member of the Elders' Council. The elder whom he called Kafka did not hesitate. After all, he had seen everything that happened before. What Johnny said now was equivalent to the great prophet's order. So Kafka ran over and took out the 2 god-trapping nets, and then followed Johnny out. The god-trapping net is a cylinder with a semicircular head at the front. It looks a bit like a flashlight used by humans. After Kafka came to Johnny, he directly handed the god-trapping net to Johnny, and then the 2 of them went out together and came to Qiu Jian, Xiao Wu, and the other 4 people. Let them go. Johnny said directly, then walked forward and activated the trap god net. A net popped out from the round head of the flashlight, covering Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu directly in it. On the other side, Kafka was about to use the trapping net to cover Wang Sha and Wang Mi like Johnny, when suddenly a voice came from behind. Your Majesty the Elder, is the great prophet here? Kafka, who was about to take action, looked back and saw the commander of the escort fleet walking quickly towards the side with a cosmic ghost he didn't recognize. Seeing that these 2 cosmic ghosts were about to approach the elders, the elite guards on one side stopped them directly. The captain who had seen the great prophet before entering inside stepped forward and asked, "What's the matter with you?" The 2 cosmic ghosts stopped quickly, and then the escort fleet commander said, "I am the fleet commander of the frigate. My subordinate said that he has some important information and wants to report it to the great prophet. It's him." Having said this, the fleet commander pointed at the cosmic ghost beside him. His name is Deblo. He has just joined our escort fleet. He was also the first to discover the existence of the human race. First, he discovered that we have a big crisis and must tell the great prophet immediately. After hearing the words of the fleet commander, the guard captain looked back at Kafka. He did not dare to make the decision on this kind of matter, so he naturally had to ask the members of the Elder Council for instructions. Kafka looked at Johnny, who hesitated for a moment, and then said, "Just wait a moment. The great prophet is here, but he has more important things to do. Have you seen these human races? The great prophet wants to see them first. Your Majesty the Elder." After hearing what Johnny said, Deblo ignored his own identity and said directly, "My information is very urgent. Are there any tribesmen around the great prophet who have appeared again after leaving your sight? I suspect that there are people in the human race who can become like us, so if there are such tribesmen, then the great prophet there will be danger. Please let me see the great prophet immediately, I have evidence." Hearing Deblo's words, Johnny and Kafka changed their expressions at the same time, and then Johnny said directly, "I will go in immediately and report to the great prophet. Kafka, you watch them here." Before Kafka had time to answer, Johnny had already led Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian, who were trapped in the divine net, into the hall where they came out before. What did you mean when you said, the clan members who have left our site? Kafka looked at Johnny's back, then at the fleet commander and Deblo, and asked with a frown. That's right. Deblo looked at the fleet commander and saw that the commander nodded directly to him, so he explained. Before, there were traitors in our escort fleet. They not only attacked our own people, but also rushed directly into the energy shield. These humans, as well as the human race who is still fighting us now, took advantage of that moment. Enter the headquarters. I later specifically investigated the space battleships that rushed into the energy shield. Although they were all shattered by our own defensive weapons, I still found the battleship's black box and restored the records. Records show that all of these mutinous warships were visited by a frigate captain before, and although this captain is the image of a ghost in our universe, I carefully checked his energy fluctuations and found that his energy fluctuations, it doesn't match the captain's energy fluctuations we recorded. And I also found some bands in his life energy fluctuations that are similar to the life energy fluctuations of the human race, so I am sure that this captain is not one of our tribesmen, but a human race pretending to be one. Although I don't know how did he do it. But this human race must be among us now. And now the most likely place for the human race that can incarnate into our clan is here, because the Great Prophet is here. If he succeeds in assassinating the Great Prophet, then we. Hearing Deblo's words, Kafka's hands and feet suddenly became cold. He suddenly thought of something. In the hall, a cosmic ghost had indeed left, and the two cosmic ghosts who left with him seemed to be gone again. Appear. Kafka turned around suddenly and shouted at the top of his lungs. Watch out, Johnny. At the same time, Kafka could no longer care about the two humans, the fleet commander and Deblo who were still here. He turned around and ran towards the hall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1159. Kafka ran with hatred in his heart. He should have seen that Johnny was not right. When Johnny just came back, he felt that Johnny was a little talkative and not as withdrawn as before. Moreover, when they were studying how to deal with the human race that had entered the military zone, Johnny was the last one to come. However, because Johnny was withdrawn before, his late arrival did not alert other members of the Elders' Council. One reason was that they did not know that there were people in the human race who could disguise themselves as their people. Another reason was that after Johnny entered the Elders' Council, he did not have a good relationship with any of the elders, so no one was willing to talk to him. Now that I think about it, Johnny should have been killed by the human race at that time, and disguised himself as him and came here. I didn't expect that they were in the same hall with a human race for so long, and they were still discussing how to deal with that human race. Now think about it, Johnny seemed to have a few ideas at the beginning, but none of them worked. This is of course that he was secretly helping that human race. And now Kafka finally understood why Johnny captured all these humans as soon as he went out, and in such a short time. It was obvious that he was bringing these humans into their headquarters to assassinate the Great Prophet. Especially the matter of the god-trapping net mentioned by Johnny just now made Kafka feel a little desperate. He just hoped that his warning just now was still in time. At the same time, Kafka cursed in his heart that he was too confused just now and didn't even think of using the fleet commander's communicator to alert the Great Prophet. However, Kafka still had some fluke in his heart. One reason was that the Great Prophet had a strong ability to predict danger, and the other was that the Great Prophet's own strength was absolutely strong. It is estimated that the human pretending to be Johnny also learned this from Johnny's memory, so he thought of using the god-trapping net just now. This god-trapping net must be used by the human to deal with the Great Prophet. I hope that the Great Prophet will not be covered by the god-trapping net due to negligence, otherwise. Kafka's guess was basically correct. Elder Johnny was actually the instructor Li Yingning. After helping Wang Fen before, the instructor sneaked into the headquarters of the Universe Ghost. Because the headquarters of the Universe Ghost was in chaos at that time, and the instructor entered as a Universe Ghost, and the place where the instructor broke into was also in the living area, it happened that Johnny, the Elder, was in the living area at that time and was directly encountered by the instructor. The instructor certainly didn't know Johnny's identity at the time, but because he happened to see a lone Universe Ghost, he directly used a sneak attack to kill him, hoping to get some useful information from his memory. What surprised the instructor was that he actually killed a big fish. The one who was killed was actually the most respected member of the Elder Council among the Universe Ghosts. So Li Yingning immediately changed his plan and directly used Johnny's identity to come to the previous hall. Although there were many checkpoints along the way, and there were also life detectors, these things were not difficult for Li Yingning, who had the memory and identity of Johnny, the Elder. Originally, Li Yingning wanted to destroy the main brain directly, but from Johnny's memory, the instructor knew the most important problem, that is, the core part of the main brain was placed in a closed space. To enter that space, at least 5 elders of the Universe Ghosts were required to be present at the same time. Therefore, he could only leave this task to Wang Feng. Only his teleportation could ignore the space blockade, enter that closed space, and destroy the main brain. Li Yingning himself, of course, went to the location of the elders of the Universe Ghost. One was to see if he could secretly help Wang Feng, and the other was to find an opportunity to kill all these elders. Because Wang Feng's advance encountered some troubles, but in Li Yingning's view, Wang Feng could solve these troubles independently, even the covering shooting, so the instructor did not directly expose his identity, but only came up with a few tricky ideas to secretly help Wang Feng, and under his guidance, the other elders also made a few stupid moves, so Li Yingning was not conspicuous among them and did not arouse the suspicion of other elders. After the great prophet appeared, Li Yingning immediately learned the importance of this old guy to the Universe Ghost through Johnny's memory, but he also knew the strength of this old guy. Therefore, although Li Yingning knew that he had to kill the great prophet of the Universe Ghost, he did not act immediately, but wanted to wait for an opportunity to kill with one blow. Coincidentally, the great prophet directly appointed Li Yingning's general and asked him to capture Qiu Jian and others. This was of course a great opportunity for Li Yingning, so he immediately obeyed the order. Before meeting the elite guards, Li Yingning killed the 2 high-ranking cosmic ghost officials who followed him to capture Qiu Jian and others. Because Li Yingning felt that he would definitely tamper with the order of the great prophet at that time, it would be very inconvenient for him to have these 2 guys around, and he might even be exposed, so he found an excuse and took the 2 to a hidden place, and got rid of the 2 unlucky guys. After seeing Qiu Jian and the others, Li Yingning directly used his own voice, so Qiu Jian and the others recognized him, because Johnny, the Elder, was originally taciturn, and the elite guards had never seen Johnny, the Elder, a few times, so the elite guards on one side did not find anything wrong. And Li Yingning used a few secret gestures to let Qiu Jian and the others know his identity, so when Li Yingning made a move, Qiu Jian and the others pretended that they had no time to resist, so they were captured so easily. Otherwise, no matter how powerful the elite guards were, it would be difficult to kill Qiu Jian and the others with just these 400 people, let alone capture them alive. Originally, everything was carried out according to Li Yingning's script. Even the god-trapping net, which could be used to increase their chances of killing the great prophet, was successfully obtained by Li Yingning, and he was holding it in his hands legitimately. However, the sudden appearance of the 2 cosmic ghosts disrupted the instructor's plan. After hearing what Daburo said, Li Yingning knew that he could not delay any longer and had to act immediately, otherwise there would be no chance. So he immediately pulled Qiu Jian and Xiao Wu, who were covered by the god-trapping net, into the hall. As for the other 2 children, Li Yingning did not care about them, because the appearance of Daburo and the fleet commander disrupted his plan, but at least they appeared at the right time. Kafka had not used the god-trapping net on them at that time. The two children only looked weaker, but their level 10 combat power was not damaged. Therefore, if they were not covered by the god-trapping net, the two people with stealth ability would basically not be in any danger. Besides, Li Yingning was in a hurry now. He had to do his best to kill the Great Prophet before Kafka could react, and it would be best if he could also kill the other members of the Cosmic Ghost Elders Council. While Kafka was talking to Da Polo, Li Yingning pulled Qiujian and Xiao Wu into the hall and quickly told them what they were going to do. Qiujian and Xiao Wu, who had already known the instructor's identity, of course had no objection. They just kept the instructor's words in mind and walked forward quickly behind the instructor. Although he knew that the matter was urgent, the instructor still did not show it. After entering the hall, he walked towards the Great Prophet at a normal speed. Huh? Why are there only two people? The Great Prophet looked at Li Yingning and Qiujian and Xiao Wu who were pulled by him, and frowned. At the same time, the sense of crisis in his heart became stronger and stronger. Seeing the Great Prophet's expression, the instructor knew that something might have changed, so he immediately spoke in advance. Great Prophet, there is an emergency. The commander of the escort fleet is looking for you with a subordinate. They said that there might be spies around you, disguised as human beings. Kafka is watching them. I'll come in and ask you. Hearing the instructor's words, the Great Prophet looked at the door and dispelled his previous suspicions, but immediately turned around and looked around him, because Li Yingning said that there might be spies around him. Li Yingning's words were quite wise. He told the truth directly and pointed out the reason why Kafka did not bring the two human beings back with him, which made the Great Prophet subconsciously think that the increasingly strong sense of crisis in his heart came from his side, and ignored Li Yingning, Qiujian, and Xiao Wu. Seeing the Great Prophet looking at him, none of the elders and high-level members of the Universe Ghost around him dared to move, because they had also heard what the instructor said. If they retreated at this time, or even made any movements, it would increase their suspicion, so they stood there and looked at each other. You two, tell us, Great Prophet, where are your human spies hiding? Seeing that they were close to the Great Prophet, Li Yingning directly pulled Qiujian and Xiao Wu from behind him to the front, and pointed in the direction of the Great Prophet, and said sternly. Qiujian and Xiao Wu were facing the Great Prophet of the Universe Ghost directly at this time, and were about to take action, but Kafka's shrill shout suddenly came from the door of the hall. Johnny is a human spy, Great Prophet, be careful. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1160. Kafka's shout immediately startled the Great Prophet and the cosmic ghosts around him. At the same time, the high-level cosmic ghosts and members of the Council of Elders were preparing to rush forward and stand in front of the Great Prophet. When Qiujian and Xiao Wu heard Kafka's shout outside, they knew that the instructor should have been exposed. They were originally ready to attack directly, but for some reason, the instructor did not release the trapping net on them. Therefore, the two of them can't attack at all. Neither Xiao Wu nor Qiujian had any doubts about the instructor. Therefore, since the instructor did not let go of them, they did not look back. They just looked in the direction of the Great Prophet. This way, they could move more quickly. A little. Point behind the Great Prophet and say the spy is there. At this moment, the instructor's voice suddenly came from behind them. Although Qiujian and Xiao Wu didn't know what the instructor meant, they still followed what the instructor said and pointed directly behind the Great Prophet and shouted. The spy is right there. For a moment, all the cosmic ghosts on the Great Prophet's side were confused, and they didn't know who to listen to. Kafka said that Johnny was a spy, but Johnny didn't let go of the two humans. The clan pointed to them and said the spies were here. But this is what the human race said themselves. The cosmic ghosts do not believe that the human race will betray their own people. After all, even if they betray their own people, they will not get any benefits. Everyone knows that the cosmic ghosts are the people of other races. The tribesmen regard it as food. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Just after Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian shouted that there was a spy here, a scream suddenly sounded from the mouth of the great prophet, and then a bloody sword surged from the back of the great prophet. What? Really here? The cosmic ghost next to the great prophet was shocked, and even Kafka was suddenly stunned. Could it be that what he had guessed before was wrong, and there was someone else who was the spy? The great prophet, who was attacked on the back, instinctively rushed forward. Now there were only two human beings trapped in the divine net in front of him, and Johnny, the elder. Since there was an attack on his back, at least Johnny was suspected. He should be cleansed, and now he has nowhere else to hide. Who knows which of these guys behind him is a human being pretending to be? At this time, the instructor directly kicked Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian, who were trapped in the divine net, toward the great prophet, and shouted loudly. Great prophet, use them to recover your injuries and get out of here quickly. I'll stop them. Of course, the great prophet would not be polite to him at this time. He directly stretched out his palms to grab Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian. In fact, he was not in a hurry to recover from his injuries. After all, he was very strong, even if he just came from the attack on his back was very sudden, but it still didn't cause him any serious injuries. But anyway, if the great prophet wants to leave, he has to go in this direction. It is not troublesome to capture these two human races by the way. However, just when the great prophet's hands were about to touch Xiao Wu and Qiu Jian, the trapping net shining on the two people suddenly let go and directly hit the great prophet under the hood. The great prophet was about to dodge. Qiu Jian and Xiao directly grabbed his hands, and the sound of sharp blades piercing the air came from behind the great prophet again. This sudden change suddenly forced the great prophet into despair. Although the great prophet has the ability to predict the future, when the matter concerns himself, he will feel very vague, especially in battle. The ability to predict the future basically does nothing. Otherwise, he can predict any attack of the enemy, and the great prophet is equivalent to an invincible existence. Many races have great prophets, and they are mainly able to encounter relatively heavy losses in their own race. Sometimes, there will be some predictive ability. The clarity of this predictive ability is determined by the characteristics of the race and the ability of the great prophet itself. For example, the human race is a chosen race, so Dong Huang Tai's ability to foresee is ranked first among all the great prophets. Because Qiu Jian and the others' attack was completely unexpected, especially the instructor's previous actions, and the attack on the back of the great prophet, the cosmic ghosts around the great prophet, whether they were the elders or senior officials, did not focus on their defense. For Li Yingning and Xiao Qiujian, it is already too late for them to rescue them. Now, the situation of the great prophet looks quite bad, because Li Yingning's plan can basically be said to be perfect. Even Kafka's previous cry did not make Li Yingning's hard work go to waste. The reason why Li Yingning didn't let go of the trapped god network just now was because behind the great prophet, he also had a trump card specially prepared for emergencies, Wang Mi. Wang Feng did not show up when Qiu Jian and the others were captured. Instead, he hid directly behind the instructor and followed him into the hall. What he did was naturally the kind of secret that the instructor passed through the Hope Corps gesture to tell him. After entering the hall, Wang Mi hid beside the great prophet, ready to launch a fatal blow to the great prophet at any time. Originally, Wang Mi was ready to take action after entering, but because of the instructor's arrangement, Wang Mi waited until after Kafka came in. He launched the attack. After launching the attack, Wang Mi realized why the instructor didn't want him to launch a fatal attack immediately after entering the great prophet's side. The attack just now by Wang Mi was not just to divert the attention of other cosmic ghosts, but a truly unreserved attack. But what Wang Mi didn't expect was that the Great Prophet's sense of danger was so strong. Although he launched a backstab from behind him, the Great Prophet still seemed to feel it, so that Wang Mi's attack did not cause much damage to the Great Prophet. Although the wound looked big, and even the Great Prophet's entire back was bleeding, but with the strong physique of the Cosmic Ghost family, even if the Great Prophet didn't repair his body immediately, he would definitely not die for a while. Fortunately, when Wang Mi attacked the Great Prophet, he had Xiao Wu, Qiujian, and the instructor in front of him. With Wang Mi's words, the Great Prophet was surrounded, and the most fatal thing was the trap net. Since the God-trapping net was controlled by the instructor Li Yingning, when the Great Prophet approached, Li Yingning saw the opportunity and directly released the God-trapping net, releasing Xiao Wu and Qiujian while covering the Great Prophet. Now the Great Prophet's hands were caught by Xiao Wu and Qiujian, and Wang Mi was behind him. He was also covered by the God-trapping net. It can be said that he had already stepped into a desperate situation. But the Great Prophet was the Great Prophet after all. He had lived for so many years, so it goes without saying that he was strong. He also had some life-saving cards. Now, of course, it was time for the Great Prophet to use all his cards. In fact, if there was no God-trapping net, although the current situation looked very critical, it still could not force the Great Prophet to use his cards. However, with the God-trapping net, it was different. The Great Prophet covered by the God-trapping net could not use his abilities. Crack! With the crisp sound of broken bones, the Great Prophet's arms broke at the elbows. This was done by the Great Prophet himself in order to get rid of the restraint of Qiujian and Xiao Wu in front. The cosmic ghosts are not devourers, and their bodies cannot change shape freely, so the Great Prophet directly used this heroic way to free his body. Although he broke free from the restraints of Xiao Wu and Qiujian, he still had the God-trapping net on his body, and Wang Mi behind him still did not stop his attack, and Xiao Wu and Qiujian had already rushed towards the Great Prophet and launched an attack. At this time, Li Yingning was still holding the God-trapping net tightly to restrict the Great Prophet's movement. From Johnny's memory, Li Yingning roughly understood the Great Prophet's ability, so he did not dare to relax at all. If the human race has a chance to kill the Great Prophet, this should be the only chance. And the most likely person is Qiujian. Qiujian's destructive attribute definitely has the ability to kill the Great Prophet. Even the God-trapping net cannot stop Qiujian's sword. Moreover, when Qiujian was captured before, his long sword was held by the instructor, and now it has naturally been returned to Qiujian. Because Li Yingning was too hasty when he used the God-trapping net on the Great Prophet just now, the Great Prophet is not completely trapped in the net now, but because the God-trapping net was made by the Universe Ghost with all his strength, coupled with the restraint of Qiujian, Xiao Wu, and Wang Mi, the Great Prophet cannot get rid of the God-trapping net for a while. Especially Qiujian's long sword, the thin layer of destructive power on it made the Great Prophet feel a fear from the heart. Now the Great Prophet finally found the source of the crisis, but it seems a little too late at this time. Quick! Kill him with all your strength. At any cost. Li Yingning did not join the battle at this time. One reason was that his attack did not cause much damage to the Great Prophet. After all, the attack methods of the Devourer and the Cosmic Ghost were mainly to absorb the opponent's vitality, and in this regard, the Cosmic Ghost was obviously the real expert. And now Li Yingning has the God-trapping net. If he joins the battle, a negligence will allow the Great Prophet to escape from the God-trapping net, which will really be a loss. Now the God-trapping net is the real headache for the Great Prophet. Without the God-trapping net, he would be very easy to fight or escape, but now his body is firmly restricted. Even if he cuts off his arms, he cannot get freedom. And the surrounding cosmic ghosts all rushed up at this time, ready to rescue their own Great Prophet. Even Li Yingning, 5 members of the Cosmic Ghost Elders rushed over.